Hey everyone, I hope you're doing well. Thanks for stopping by. It is officially October. Spooky season is here. You know what that means: cooler weather, fall colors, cozy sweaters, costumes, candy, and horror movies. Today's video, I show you how I created this clown look by incorporating several well-known clowns. Can you name all of them? List those in the comments below, and don't forget to hang out to the very end because that one is a little bit harder to figure out. And without further ado, let's bring in the clowns. To begin and make my mask, I'm using air foam clay. It's easy to work with, it's very pliable, it dries faster than regular clay. It's a little bit more pliable after it dries, but be careful, it will break. And here I am rolling out a piece and flattening it down and cutting out 8 big teeth for the top and 10 small teeth for the bottom. It is time to connect the teeth into the jawline, and grabbing another piece, I roll that out and flatten it as well. And I start connecting the bottom teeth, bringing them close together, and I also do this for the top teeth. And then I continue to build up the mask up around the top part, and also up around the sides to make sure that this piece connects and is one full mask. Continue on to make sure that those teeth are well embedded into that bottom gum line. I take my finger and tap it into some water and run that smooth. And before it dries, I take a tool, and between each teeth, I create a gum texture. And you could do this with any tool. A toothpick works, thumbnails work. Going through the top piece, I do the same thing, tapping my finger into water, and that's a good way to smooth out this airfoam clay. In most clays, if you want pieces to connect, you won't get rid of a seam, just tap your finger into some water till it runs smooth. Time to paint the mask, and today I'm using a bright red acrylic paint. You can find these paints at most craft stores. They're in about 50 cents a piece. They're good to have on hand. Now going through and I'm painting red for the gum line, and I carry this all the way through and into those details and in between the teeth. One thing to be mindful of when you're painting things, if you're going to be acting, you're going to be on video, and you're going to be moving your face around, you're going to want to get into those small crevices, and also flip your piece around and take a look and just get a small coating just to make sure that nothing pops through. There's no white, there's no little pieces. It's just a good rule to start doing, a good habit to get into. Here I go through, and even though this clay is white, I still continue to paint it because I want a three-dimensional look in deep and dark colors. Air foam clay will absorb a lot of color, so I went through and I believe that I actually coated each color about 3 to 4 times. Using my alcohol-based paints, I mix up some colors that I like just to get those teeth gritty and grungy. This is not pristine. It's a dirty, grungy, grumpy clown. To lock those colors in, I give it a coat of clear gloss. To make this truly a mask, I go in and add the string. I take a tool and I go through each side, and I place some holes down. You could do this before it's dry. It doesn't matter. It's still really easy to work with. I just waited till mine was dry. Wrapping the string around my tool, I go through and with the hole and continue to punch in until I see the string show up on the other side. I'm going to do this on the other side. Here it is complete, and it's time to move on to the hair. I took yarn, I took red, and I purchased some white, and going with a comb, I fray that out and get that sprayed with hairspray. And to make the colors, I just went through with acrylic paints that I had on hand, and I colored yellow, and I mixed a yellow and a green for that final color. Now, having seen so far, have you guessed which clown this is? Be sure to list that in the comments below. I painted red stripes and glued some pom-poms on for this collar to an old pillowcase. For my clown shoes, I glued some pom-poms onto some Crocs. First things first, taking Vaseline and protecting my natural hairline. It's a good habit to get into. To secure the ball cap, I take Pros-Aide and I go over the edges just to get those down. And I'm not worried about the edge in the front because I'm going to use cotton and latex later. Now this ball cap is a used one, and I knew that I could get by with painting it. It's time to move on to the eyebrows, and in this one I'll show you how I block out the color. I was not too sure exactly where my makeup was going to fall once I put my cap on, so I just went in and did about 5-6 layers of glue and powder, and I took a color corrector. This is from LA Girl, and it comes with a brush on the tip of it. It's a lot easier to use, it saves your brushes. Going in with liquid latex and cotton, I get that put down all over the seam, and it secures the ball cap even more. Place a layer of liquid latex down, being sure to go on the top of the ball cap and a little bit onto the forehead, and placing pieces of cotton randomly, working in small areas. And I only did this layer once, but remember, the best technique for me might work for you is to tap that latex into cotton, tap and slide to the next piece, tap and slide. So using white cream paints, I painted the ball cap, the liquid latex and cotton, and my face. I just did not hit record. I'm sorry about that. So yeah, I get that secure with powder. And going in with the eyeshadow palette, I'm using this just for a guideline to keep myself mindful. It's a good practice until you get used to whatever paints that you might be using. I go ahead and lay down some contour around the cheek area and the nose. Now this look has 5 different references. Getting my dark circles placed down, being sure to get that saturated. Every paint that I'm using on the face and the ball cap is a cream paint. Cream paint seems to stay better. Water-based paints will flake throughout the time, so just be mindful what you're going to be, where you're going to be at, how long you're going to need to be it in will dictate, which paint that you should be using. Going in, I get the shape down with my blue and paint those in. Now the shape and the color of this look is coming from 2 different clowns. If you think you know it, be sure to list these 5 different references. Once that blue is saturated and that color is put down and dry, I go in with a red and I get those eyebrows on. These eyebrows are just random and haphazard. Can you name this clown? Back to the nose. It is another clown. Can you name it? This one should be pretty easy. The 6th of the 7th mouthpiece is a reference, but you have to wait to the end. It is time for blood. Now this is the last product I purchased. It's called Thick Blood. I found it at Walmart. I like the consistency. I like that it dries with a little bit of gloss to it, but I do not care for the color, so I just added a little bit of black green paint because I want that dark dried line from the ball cap, from the seam into the forehead to be darker and older, and then I just sponged in the rest of it. Now this blood does not bleed, so you're going to have to actually paint a little bit of lines that are bleeding. It has more control, so just be mindful that it's not going to run like stage blood. To attach the hair to the ball cap, I just dip the bottom of these pieces into liquid latex. If you're going to be making these hairpieces, I would suggest that you make them bigger than what you need and cut them down if they're too tall. If you've been working with latex long enough, you'll be twisting your fingers to get that latex off. It's just something that has to be done, so get used to that. Time to get into my costume, and the shirt is referencing again a clown that's already used in the makeup. Might help you guess. Instead of gloves, I'm using medical gauze and wrapping that, securing it around my hands. And I go through with a homemade mixture of very light, thin blood, get those knuckles bloody. Putting my mask on, clown 6 of 7. Here is the reveal of the 7th clown incorporated into this look, the color and the shape of the mouth. Can you guess what it is? Thank you guys for hanging out with me today. I sure do appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I hope it was fun. I hope you had fun guessing. Be sure to leave the comments and your guesses below. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.